Yeah, welcome back to the Michael Anthony Show, and my voice is kind of gone because I've just engaged in my last weekend of alcohol consumption. I have said goodbye to that poison and many of the people who I associate with a mutual love of that toxic liquid that does nothing but tear apart your state of mind, limb for limb. The abuse of alcohol last weekend was, of course, aided by the fact that Irvine Welsh was in town, not just doing the Michael Anthony Show, but requesting that the Michael Anthony Show with him was filmed, so it could possibly appear in a 2023 Fly on the Wall documentary, I Am Irvine Welsh, which was a huge honour for the show and for the listeners who've been tuning in for the last few years. But if I'd had more than 4 days' notice, I probably would have tried to shift the excessive 12 pounds I've been carrying around for 8 months. So now I'm probably going to have to spend the next 6 months fearing the release of this documentary, because if the camera does add 10 pounds, I won't fit in the shot. But yeah, Irvine doesn't play by the rules, as many of the people who are fans of his will know. And if you aren't a fan of Irvine Welsh, you don't really know what business you have listening to the Michael Anthony Show. So an over-serious call sheet and production teams and all this shit were involved. And I was told that I had to strictly be there at 4 o'clock and couldn't bring plastic. By 5, I was told that Irvine was still sampling the best Dublin boozers, which you'd expect and appreciate. And by the time he arrived at 5:15, one of his 20 runners, or whatever they are, had placed 8 Guinness on the table. And we made our way through them as we spoke. So if you are noticing anything peculiar in this show, please note that substances were abused. And it was an honour to bow out to alcohol opposite somebody of his ilk. Rate and review the show. Actually, if you don't, you're just a freak really at this point. And enjoy it. Here we go. MA Show.
The sinking sand of despair, the smell of dread in the air. I'm head to toe in my own fear. I'm going to die, no need to cry.
Irvine Welsh, great to finally meet you.
Michael, fantastic to meet you, and fantastic to see a kind of a sort of a later days Jim Morrison clone here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Achieved, effortlessly achieved.
You arrived in Dublin. Obviously, you're here to do the Glendalough Festival, but you just didn't have the discipline. Because Dublin doesn't give discipline. Dublin is a place where you have to enjoy yourself. It's too beautiful. You can't stay out of the business.
It's not the place where you think to yourself, I'm going to go to Dublin to focus and concentrate and to kind of to enact all these things that I want to enact. Like, you kind of basically you go to Dublin to have fun, but you also go for inspiration. And it's like the thing about if you're Scottish, the weird thing about Scotland and Ireland is it's like you have this kind of there's a kind of strange kind of thing, because it's like because you
victimhood, an oppressed state of great pain.
But you know what it is? It's like you go, if you're Scottish, you go to Ireland, and it's like you think that this is fucking great. This is how a free Celtic nation should be, and this is, and it's then you kind of realize that it's like there's a kind of strange vector that happens. Like you think it's like because Ireland, everything is like. Everybody is like sort of the crack is mighty, everything is fucking great, everything. And then it's like when you have a few drinks and and it goes on, it's like the coffin chips, the fucking so everything goes down, Whereas in Scotland it's the reverse. Scotland, everybody's a fucking money-faced cunt, It's like kind of
and the ethanol brings you up to happiness.
It's like kind of fucking this, fucking that. Everybody's a snidey bastard. And then suddenly they get past the point, fucking great. We love everybody. This is fucking brilliant. So there's a vector. There's a kind of.
Do you think that's because you knew the people from Scotland, though? We all feel like that of the place we know. Like when I go to Edinburgh, I don't think there is hatred.
Yeah,
you come to Dublin, you don't think there's hatred.
There's a vector. There's a vector where, like, you know, sort of in Ireland, definitely as an island, it's like this cross between like kind of massive optimism and then like it's pretty shite, really. In Scotland, it's the reverse. It's like, oh, this is fucking terrible. And then it's like, no, it's all right. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a perfect point where Scotland and Ireland cross over. You know?
Yeah.
So that's my theory. I don't know.
How do you find living in London as a guy who spent a lot of time there?
Well, I mean, London's not really a city in the sense. It's like, you know, you living in London is like living in Tokyo or kind of not Berlin. Berlin's kind of kept out of that thing, but that line that you draw, like Tokyo, Moscow, London, New York, big neoliberal kind of thing.
In terms of the people, like if you're in a bar in Hackney, would you have better crack in a bar in Dublin or Edinburgh than you would in a bar in Hackney?
Well, I think you'd have a great crack in them all. You're not going to have a great crack in Sloane Square. Everybody's going to be going like, I say, this is, what the fuck are you doing in this pub? But I think the great, it's like people that criticise London, people from like, Edinburgh and from Dublin and all, they're talking about London as a sort of, it's a centre of London. They're not, but everybody's like kind of fucked in the tube. They're in Soho. They're kind of messing around and all that. They're not really talking about, and people that go to Soho, they're generally there with their workmates and their friends. They don't want to socialise with random strangers like JK's fucking pulling them into the scene. They're just having a good time. But it's like when you go to, if you're in Edinburgh or Dublin, it's like everybody's like, how you doing? How you doing? They bring people in. In London, it's not like that. It's just too metropolitan for that. If you go somewhere like Hackney or Islington, you go to local pubs there. It's the same vibe, basically.
I read something fascinating about you that I could relate to, and it's when you were talking about having that codependency thing going on with love, in terms of how much you want to be loved, but once it's there, you're running away from it. And I felt the same thing myself. Throughout any relationship I've been in, is that you want it, but for some reason you like it from it when it's there. And then when you don't have it, you pretend you want it. What's wrong with us is what I'm asking.
Is that not the human condition, though? Is that not what we're all about? No, is that what we're all about? What we want to...
Some people sacrifice parts of themselves and just stay quiet. So some people don't need to express that pain. Some people stay the fuck shut. And they're the type of people... But
why don't you dive into that? I can't understand anybody that's living a life that's not diving into all that shit, because that's what we're all about. It's like the only way you're going to learn and grow and develop and get and have an interest in life is diving into everything. Whether it's kind of love or pain or hurt or all that. Or just good times and good fun.
So is it like a capitalistic thing that makes people just go with the flow, stay with the woman they don't love, do the job they don't love, and ignore their fucking anxieties?
I think, Michael, you've cracked it, man. It's a division in labour. It's like we're in these slots and we have to do this. We have to kind of we've got to a certain point in our life. We have to be with this person. We have to kind of get married. We have to buy a house. We have to have a kid. We have to do this, and then it's like we have to get divorced. We have to finish it. It's like the trajectory. There's a kind of a horrible, ugly trajectory, and it's not really about. It's not really about life. It is about capital. It's about us as being kind of little tools of this kind of broader.
Why do you think certain people get the awareness of it though, and certain people live it? What made you kind of know it was all bullshit?
Maybe having a sort of an extreme sort of militantly kind of communist Marxist mother, and a sort of an easygoing kind of social democrat father. And having the debate and discussion.
What do you mean by your mother being kind of militant?
My mum's 93 now.
But when you were younger, was she smacking you when you were younger?
No, but she fuck man. I would have punched her fucking face in, man. It's like, but
was there any corporal punishment in your childhood?
None at all. No, it was very loving. They were like very.
But your mates would have been getting their heads handed.
Yeah, they were getting their fucking hand. They'd be getting their cunts kicked in. But not me. I mean, I was honestly, I was the completely anointed kind of poncy little fucker.
So that kind of give you the ability, because they'd be all living in such fear and feel the need to follow this religious, marriage-orientated life because they were getting physically battered. Did you have the benefit of not being physically battered, so you could get this gift of critical thought because you weren't afraid of the fist?
You know what? It's like I think when you see kind of other kids, when you're growing up as a young kid, and you see other kids that they obviously kind of, they come out the house and they were great little kids, and they come out the house like they're kind of a bit cowed, a bit haunted. You think to yourself, what the fuck's going on in your house? Like, you know?
Yeah.
So it was like, but bizarrely, I was always the one that ran away, you know, and my mum and dad used to say, "We fucking treated you well. What the fuck are you doing, you little cunt? You know, you fucking, you know, you're running away. You're jumping on the buses, and police are out for you, and all that kind of stuff." And I was like, well, you know, it's like, I'm not running away because you've been touching me up or abusing me. I'm running away because I just want to see what's
the ability
the
to call culture for what it was, and to point out that people who follow authority needlessly are kind of in a way wasting their lives, and the beauty of revolt was kind of because you were a guy who was your parents, considering the overall magnitude of the situation, like, nice people.
Yeah, they were nice people,
laid back, nice people.
They also had a bit of cynicism for the whole kind of the apparatus of, you know, of how we operate and how we're controlled and how we live and all that. You know,
what do you mean?
Not developed. You know, well, they were. You know, my mum was a communist. You know, my dad was a kind of, you know, a kind of democratic socialist. So they had a very thing that we're outside of all this. Like, you know, they're all both trade unionists.
Were they behind your creativity when you started writing?
Yeah, they were like, yeah.
But what were they like when you were on heroin?
Not so good.
Were they similar to the way Renton's parents react? Like helpful, but didn't really have the personality to express shame?
I think it's like what it is. It's like, you know, for, you know, when you get into any kind of drug, it's like, you know, for me it was like, you know, I was just told from an early age, like, don't smoke dope. Dope will fucking kill you. It will fucking destroy you. You know. So obviously you want to smoke something. You know? And the biggest fear I've ever had with a drug was like taking a draw of cannabis, and it'll go, take it down your fucking neck, carry it down your fucking neck. You know? I was going, And I thought, well, fine, yeah. Then it was the same with speed, then it was the same with acid, and even acid was a fucking mad trip, you know, it was a fucking mental, you know.
But the decision into gear.
But with heroin, it was like, it was almost like, finally, yes, it has fucked me up, you know, fair enough, but it's a long, long fucking time, you know what I mean? So,
how good is heroin?
Personally, I mean, it's like, it's one of these things that it just absolves everything that you're bothered about. It just completely takes away everything you care about, you know, everything you're bothered about. But that, you know, I've hit on the thing that it not only takes away everything you're bothered about, it takes away everything you care about as well. You know, the positive things, the good things.
Okay.
You're just sitting there.
It takes motivation.
You're just like sitting in a fucking bath, basically. You know, to me, heroin is always like sitting in a nice warm bath. You know, I mean, you're just fucking relaxed. That was what heroin was to me. And it's like, there becomes a certain time when you think, how long can I do this for? And to me, there was always a very narrow time that I could do that. Yeah, and it's like, because I didn't have anything driving it. I wasn't abused, or I wasn't fucking I didn't have depression or anxiety issues. I could, you know, and these are the things that, you know, that
were you the guy in the group who started that? Did you get other people into heroin?
Oh, fucking loads of them, like,
yeah.
You know, I mean, I think...
And are some of them dead now?
Probably, yeah. I mean,
from heroin.
You know,
is that Tommy story in Trainspotting true?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's archetypal. You know, it's like, you know, it's that kind of thing that you get people that have got anxiety and depression issues. They get into that kind of thing. You get people who like myself, are just adventurers and who listen to too much Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground.
Have the personality to express what you've listened to.
Yeah,
so did your charisma accidentally make you, in a way, be the leader of the gear group when it started?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I think the great thing about the gear group is there are no leaders. You know what I mean? It's like you just...
There's always a leader in the gear
well,
group.
I think there's always leadership. There's not always necessarily a leader. You know, leadership's a quality that passes around. You know, it's like, you know, and I mean, you know, everything I've experienced, like, kind of, when you grow up with people, it's like, you know, the hardest guy, the best looking guy, the biggest shagger, the comedian, intellectual, they're not the same guy, and leadership passes around them, you know. So it's like, and that's it's like, I think that to me, it was like I never strived to be a leader, and I never was, like, you know. So I was always like, I was always more of a participant / observer. I would just jump in and then, you know, see what happened. And then
when you give those big five characters the shagger, the intellectual comedian, which one were you?
Well, I think all, you know, I strive to be them all.
Yeah, and
you strive to try
and
all
the books and the writing, the writing allows you to be all of them.
In a way, that's what it is, Michael. It's like, you know, that's what being a writer is. It's like kind of, you know, your own ego, your own self, and all that is like you become aware that it's not like it's not something you want to inflict on other people. It's a composite of different things, you know. So yeah.
And by putting it into characters and onto pages, you can away get your own identity, who you want to be, through fiction.
I don't think you do. I think you get further away from that in a lot of ways.
There's obviously a part in all of our lives where we don't feel good about ourselves, of course, and just in terms of lack of identity or just a feeling of general darkness. And you got off heroin, you got off all the shit, but the writing solved that. Are you happy now? Like, are you glad with who the fuck you are? You must be. Best-selling author, all that stuff. Or is that all bullshit?
I mean, it's like, I've always been glad about who I am. I've never been unhappy.
Were you ever ashamed, even in the you're a junkie days?
Shame and unhappiness are different things. You know what I mean? It's like I've maybe been ashamed a couple of times, but I've never been unhappy.
Never.
I don't think so. No, I think I've always been a happy soul. I think it's like kind of it's one of these things that you know you can. It's when you try and tell people that are depressed, and you think like, for fuck's sake, come out of it, or do this or do that, you know. And it's like, you know, and they've said to me, it's all right for you, you know, you don't give a fuck, you're a happy guy. I said, well, look, I'm as fucked up as you are in some ways. I'm as determined as you are by the chemicals in me. I can't be a fucking miserable cunt. I just can't fucking do it. You know, it's like you can't be, you know, it's like if you can't be happy, you've got to accept in the same way that I can't be miserable in that way. You know what I mean?
Do you think there's a choice to it?
I don't think there is a choice. I think in a lot of ways, yes, there's a choice, but I think in a lot of ways it's just how you are. You know what I mean? It's your disposition.
But in terms of depression, is the kind of medicational, scientific format to saying this person has someone wrong with them the actual cure to it, or is it just a case of making somebody realise that nobody gives a shit about anyone else?
Well,
we're floating on a ball.
But 30, 40 years ago, we bought into a narcissistic culture, and that was it. You know, it's like kind of, and that, you know, we decided this is the way our lives are going to be. You know, and you know, it's like if you look at if you read a book like Thomas Zah's The Myth of Madness, if you read that, you can you look back and it's like that mental illness is a kind of construct. You know, so you have all these, you've always had this range of behaviours. These, you know, and it's like now suddenly it's like kind of, oh, we have to designate this as on the spectrum or autism. You just think fucking, before you just think nutter. You know what I mean? Like, you know, give them a drink and all that, let them do what they want to do and all that. You know, you don't fucking label people, and you know, well, you do label them as nutters basically,
yeah.
But you don't. It's like, oh, they're on the spectrum. They're on the spectrum.
Yeah. Do you think we've overly labelled? Yeah. Do you think we've overly labelled things like?
I think we've become
depression?
very obsessed with this idea that we should never feel any pain or discomfort, and any pain or discomfort is dysfunctional. It's part of being human. You know, if you feel fucking shit, who gives a fuck? Nobody, you know, you can't fucking label it as a mental illness, or you can't think we can get our way out of this, we can talk our way out of this, or we can kind of be, you know, counselling's going to help us, or anything's going to help us. It doesn't matter a fuck, man. It doesn't matter a fuck. You just get over it, get the fuck past it, and you will get the fuck past it. Don't make it into some kind of big pathology.
Because no creature is happy for more than 60% of their fucking existence. They're hungry.
But you know what it is? It's like, in some ways, that we've taken away all that kind of animal thing. You know, we don't feel that anymore. We still have that kind of response. You know what I mean? So we're still thinking like, fuck, what are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing? You know, I feel uneasy. I feel a bit of disquiet. You know, what is going on with me? And it's like you think, well, what is going on with me is what should be going on with you. You're a fucking human being. You should be feeling all this shit. don't worry about it. Don't see it as some fucking kind of pathology. Lean into it.
And the way we block it is
yeah.
the reason why fuckers are headbutting people
in
boozers and getting put away for 5 years.
Headbutting people, but
the animal exists.
All these posh rich cunts diving into therapy, listening to all this fucking shit about themselves and all that. Who gives a fuck, man? All you're doing is like you think to yourself, I've unleashed this. Like, I've talked about this. I've got away from it. Get some fucking mates and don't be sent to fucking
Was it
some
tough
posh
to
school.
avoid becoming the posh rich cunt? Because there would have been...
Me?
Yeah, you would have got emails, letters, you would have got people whose kids are posh cunts.
Who said I've avoided it?
No, but but you started out as it was a little bit controversial. The working class people in Leith and all finally said it's okay to speak like this, and the middle class who wanted to go to a festival and break away from mum and dad and the tennis club for a weekend started thinking it was cool. But overall, there were still 50-year-olds who started going, Irvine Welsh, who, if you met them at fucking 30, they'd say they wouldn't even look at you. Did you ever believe it? Did you ever shake the hand of the cunt?
But you know what it is? It's like you can't invest in anything.
Did you ever shake the hand of the cunt, though?
I sat down to a few cunts, but not in a
for money or what?
Not in a woeful way. I mean, I've always just done one thing. It's like, I was very fortunate that the very first thing I wrote became a best-selling book. So it's like,
but there's a cunt somewhere down the line there.
Yeah,
a cunt has to make that happen somewhere.
There's loads of them. There's not one. There's fucking tons of them. So you have to think to yourself, well, this is there's an environment and all that, and this happens and whatever. And it is like there's nobody who's ever managed to make any kind of, not even a lot of money, but any decent wage without some fucking cunt being involved, basically.
So in Trainspotting, how did you start writing that? Was it, did you just get a pen and paper out and that? Is there even Microsoft Word, or what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I started, the only thing I could do when I was on Skag was like write some fucking, compulsively.
Did you write it on Herden?
Physically, longhand write.
Were you on Herden when you wrote it?
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I was thinking that was the only thing I could focus on. And it was great. It was like something that kind of took me outside of that life. And I always felt that when I'm outside of that life, this is something that kind of means something to me. There's a reality to it, and pouncing around like try to get fucking drugs and try to fucking score and try to kind of bang up and feeling that kind of I've got to get something now. That seemed to be less real to me. It seemed to be like I was moving into this place where I was acting out some kind of stuff. Whereas, where I got to that point where I'm thinking, well, you're actually writing about this. Crappy little fucking diaries and all. They've all manifested. They've all, it's funny because I'm writing about crime and they've all manifested in this fucking TV show. Everything like that kind of comes back in a way. And I'm thinking, what is all this about? Why is this so much more real to me than all this stuff? And it is. It's like because I think you're it's like, I mean, I'm not going to be all punchy and say if you're an artist and all that, but I think that for most people, their imaginative space, their internal workings are more real to them than anything else they experience outside.
Do you think that the reason, as you said there, that you're actually on Brown, Skag, Herden, do you think that when people say Trainspotting was your best work is because it was your most real? It actually was a guy who fucking needed it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I think
it was your way out. You wrote your way out of heroin.
I don't know. It's like it's a strange thing because in a way that your best book, I think it was because it showed people something that they knew existed, but they hadn't seen. They hadn't actually seen in fiction, but they knew it existed. They knew all this was going on, but they hadn't actually seen it represented in fiction. I had this discussion with my pal John King, who wrote The Football Factory. Everybody knew that football hooligans was kicking off and it was fucking mad mobs and all that, but nobody had written about it from that inside kind of viewpoint. So I think that was these were the kind of commonalities. And I think it's like you write. I've written fucking maybe about half a dozen better books than Trainspotting, but they'll never have that impact because it's like it's a shock of the new, and it's also kind of forcing people to engage with something that they've never engaged with.
But when
before.
you listen to A Band You'd Love, and everyone knows that culturally we were drawn to their first album, their second album, and they're convinced that their fifth one was as good, do you think the fifth one was as good? Do you understand them artistically?
If you're looking at bands, it's like, what you're going to do, it's like most bands are like, they're 20 years old, they made their first album, brilliant, it's a sensation. Then the record companies say, like, make the second one within 6 months, you know, and deliver it to us. And it's like they've had like years from being wee bairns, little kids and all that, and suddenly they're now like, you know, they're there. They've done the first album. Everybody's over them. So the next 6 months, they've had 20 years of change in their life. And the next 6 months, they're fucking around, and you know they're like kind of they're in hotel rooms, they're in they're in buses and all that. They're touring and all that. You know, what are you going to learn from that? So all you can do is try and reflect and mine more of the other stuff out of it.
Because we're such information whores, though. If you even look at Wayne Rooney in Euro 2004, when he burst onto the scene at the age of 18.
He burst onto the scene at the age of 16, 2 years earlier.
Yeah, no, whatever. But I'm talking about on a global level.
I'm talking about Hibs. I'm talking about he played his very first game for Everton against Hibs in a pre-season friendly.
Were you there?
I was there.
Did you see him?
Yeah, I saw him.
Did you think you were watching something special?
No. I thought big fucker for his age, like, you know, but not that good. Like, you know.
No, but you know the way the media went on about it, as if we have the next Maradona, next Pele, next World Cup, and the rest of his deadly, unbelievable career was undermined because he was never the first edition.
Yeah,
was opening with Trainspotting. They're never. That's just what happens when you have an unbelievable debut. Something that real. They're not even going to fairly call the rest of your life.
Well, you know, but it works in different areas, doesn't it? It's like kind of. If I meet most of the, you know, the intellectuals and the studenty types, they'll go like, "A fucking Marble Salt Nightmare, shot all over Trainspotting." Much better book.
Those
like,
intellectually studenty types are the type of cunts that
you know, all right, you
20 years ago,
right? But you may laugh at those intellectual studenty cunts.
No, would you not have 20 years ago?
Well, I still do now, for fuck's sake. Like, but it's like that thing. It's like what happens now is that. You know, are you doing something that's part of an entertainment industry? Or are you doing something that's kind of a bit more of an expression of what you're feeling at the time? You know, and you can't. You know, it's like Trainspotting was an expression of what I was feeling at the time, but it was absorbed by the entertainment industry in a massive way. You know, so it's like a lot of the other things haven't been. You know, filth and ecstasy have been to some kind of extent, but you know, you don't really know. You don't really know if anything's going to hit the commercial base, but it doesn't change the thing that you've actually written. You know, you still feel that same sense of ownership from it.
Have you ever seen a therapist?
Only when long-term relationships break down, and they always tell me you're fucking great. It's these who's faults. I'm filling in the gaps.
Basically, just massaging yourself back into a sense of.
Honestly, I think therapy is all about control. I don't think anybody should go to therapy. I think when you go to therapy, you cede control to someone else. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be taking control of yourself.
So would it take maybe one session though to get to that point of view in which they build up your self-worth enough?
But you know, so if you fancy the therapist and she's good looking, it takes about 10, but usually 1. Yeah.
Why does everybody fancy the therapist?
Because they're usually good looking. Usually fucking good looking young birds, basically.
And who are also...
Why would they not fucking go into that game? You know what I mean? It's fucking great. You know, it gives them that sense of power and affirmation and all that. It gives the guys that are going to go in there like fucking, oh yeah, brilliant.
We talked about football earlier, and one thing that I noticed was a recurring theme was the Georgie Best stint at Hibs. Georgie Best was good at Hibs. But he only scored 3 goals or something like that at it. But was it the sense that somebody...
He never had assists in these days. If you had an assist table in these days, he scored every fucking goal that he practically scored back then. You know?
Well, did he perform well?
You know what? It's like one of the biggest myths about Best was that he was shit at Hibs. He was clapped out. Best was fucking brilliant at Hibs. He was really good. He was just like kind of... particularly like towards the end, you know, he had 2 stints. He had, you know, it's like... Particularly towards the end of his first stint, Best was fucking great. He got himself in shape. He worked hard, and you know, obviously he was on the piss and he was having, you know. But what a fucking player, man! That guy.
Was there something about the personality of Best though that the people of Hibs and Edinburgh loved at the time?
Yes,
and it was that nature.
It was Best. You know, you know, it's kind of. I remember going to George Best's funeral, and my mate Dougie, who lives in Sligo, who was, you know, from Edinburgh. I grew up with him. I know him since I was 6 years old, and I was living in Dublin. And he goes like, "We got to go up to George Best's funeral," you know. So we went up, and it was just a fucking great occasion. It was pissing down rain in Belfast. It's horrible. But it was the biggest thing that Belfast had ever seen that wasn't sectarian. It was a non-sectarian event. It was fucking great. It was just absolutely great. We had the best time. It was like kind of Man United, kind of Fulham, Hibs, Cork City. They were all, everybody went up there and they're all fucking paying tribute to this guy. And I think, what is it that made this guy so fucking great? Because it's like, it was that thing that he just had this talent and this skill, and he wasn't a kind of, he did everything that every working class guy would do. You know what I mean? He slept with the Miss Worlds, he fucking drank loads and fucking took loads of drugs and had fucking great, well, I don't know if he took loads of drugs, but he had a fucking great time.
And that's what goes against the kind of modern day stats era of goals, assists, fantasy football. George Best made the people who were watching him in the boozer feel that's what I'd do if I was George Best. It made you feel like you were him.
You're not going to say like kind of I'm watching Mason Mount playing for Chelsea and I'm going to fucking do exactly what Mason Mount does. I'm going to phone my agent.
But those characters will never see the Maradona. Would you be a Maradona guy as well?
Well, exactly, yes.
But we're never going to see them in football again. And these are the characters.
They're being edited out slowly. I mean, if you look at somebody like Messi. Messi was in the American fucking football system. And it's like, they were saying like Messi is not fucking good enough to play in the fucking Major League Soccer in America because he's not like this, he's not working, he's not grafting enough. For fuck's sake, man, come on, you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
He's not, it's like, it's all about being a fucking runner and an athlete, and you can't fucking touch him, you can't get anywhere near him, it's like, you can't get near Messi. When Messi's on the ball, all these guys who should be fucking putting tackles in are standing off him. But people have that fucking skill. When Floyd Mayweather is fucking, they should be punching fuck at that cunt. He's fucking standing there like, but they can't. It's Floyd Mayweather, so they can't fucking punch him.
But when you look at you, George Best, Gaza, even if you want to go John Lennon, it's the beauty of how relatable the people are is what made them so popular. And nowadays, because the fucking agents and the companies and the fucking cameras and the podcasts have got involved, you can no longer get access to the personality.
You may be onto something.
But Trainspotting is the Georgie Best piece of work.
I think you may be onto something there. I think there's like, when anybody gets a bit of profile, there's a layer removed. There's a layer of their humanity.
What I respect of Georgie Best, but Georgie Best could have been showing up with a Ballon d'Or award, but he was just down the boozer.
No, I think, Michael, you've cracked it there. There's a layer of what they call protection, but it is actually a layer of keep these cunts away from the fucking, don't you express any talent, don't you express any view, we'll keep people away from that. We'll have that, because it's like that, now it bleeds into all the kind of, the cancel culture and everything.
Yeah. And the idea,
you have to be protected. You have to kind of put this thing out there that's not going to kind of affect anybody. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to be offensive.
As a diehard Hibs fan, you are. Like, you've only it's either 3 or 4 cups in your history. I think it might be 3.
3 Scottish Cups. Yeah. But
four leagues. Last one in the 50s.
Last Scottish Cup was a thing that was like, I would never, it's like if Hibs won the Champions League 5 times in a row, it wouldn't mean anything compared to that Scottish.
Because that would involve investment. That would involve investment and kind of betraying the culture.
This is fucking
but
great,
that Scottish Cup was massive for Hibernian. But Anthony Stokes, who happened to be a guy who,
come on, what a guy! What a guy! I mean,
he played for Falkirk. He scored, I think, 16 and 14 games.
But we see, like in the Europa Cup, Taverner scored fucking the most goals from right back, which is a fucking great achievement. Like Taverner for Rangers scored all these fucking goals. But in that game, he was Stokes' bitch, basically. You know what I mean? Stokesy was just fucking amazing. He just thought. There was 2 guys like Stokes and McGinn who just thought, this is our fucking game. Honestly, Stokes was one of the most fucking gifted footballers you ever see. Remember my mate Gordon Legg, who's a big Falkirk fan, when Stokes went to Falkirk, he was going like, if you sign Anthony Stokes, you're going to win everything. He's just fucking that good. He's just brilliant. And I thought, nah. And it's like, but honestly, it's that kind of thing that when you see a player like that, you just like, this is fucking great. And it's like all players like that have got fucking shit going on. They've got, they're human beings. They've got issues. But in some way, you know, it's fucking great that this guy's just fucking doing this. He's up for it. He's going for it and all that. Yeah, and it's like, you know, I love Stokes. I'm so fucking, you know, I'm so delighted that he was part of Hibs, and he was part of Hibs in two different kind of two different sittings, you know, and he was fucking brilliant both times, man. He was such a brilliant player, and you think to yourself, well, if Stokesy had just kind of applied and knuckled down and trained and fucking, you know, and stopped fucking...
He wouldn't have been at Hibs then, though.
He wouldn't have been at Hibs. He wouldn't have been Stokesy. He wouldn't have been Anthony Stokes. You know what I mean? You've got to let people...
Is he kind of getting that reputation now? Is he kind of the gifted footballer who didn't do enough?
I don't. He's not. He's a gifted footballer who fucking is the greatest fucking star in the universe as far as I'm concerned, man. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, he scored 2 fucking immaculate fucking goals, like, you know. It's like, you know, he ran them fucking ragged in that game, and which was, you know, it's like they kind of everybody made such a fuss in Scotland about Buffalo Bills fucking was when Hibs won the last cup. They made a rod for their own back. All these fucking stupid, putrid, fucking Masonic fucking arseholes in the fucking... You know,
so is the concept of sport nearly like, what do you make of the robots? The Federers, the Nadals, the Tom Bradys, the Cristiano Ronaldos. As a sports fan, which at the end of the day, as football fans, we're sports fans, do you think they're geniuses, or do you just think they're subjects of a robotic capitalistic system, and you still love the Georgie Best and the Gazzas and the Anthony Stokes?
Number 2.
So do we love sport then, or do we love culture?
I think, you know,
do we view
we
sport
love culture,
as a part of culture?
We don't, you know, it's like the sport. You know, we don't love sport in a mechanistic way. You know, we love culture in a humanistic way. You know, you like to see people doing something that's fucking nuts. You know what I mean? Don't fucking lay it all out for people that they have to follow this template. Let them go off radar. Let them do something different. Let them have a bit of fun. Yeah.
Because if you see a 30-year-old now have a conversation with his 55-year-old old fella, and he says Messi v Maradona, and the old fella says Maradona all day long, but Messi statistically in terms of goals and his contribution to games and trophies,
honestly,
it's not a conversation.
Honest cultural ownership of it, and I think the reason is because Maradona was like kind of he was like. He was a boy. He was involved in the whole Napoli thing. He was just like, you know, fucking, you know, you know. Whereas Messi was just this guy who was taken away and fucking reared.
So we've created stories and screenplays to all these microcosms of life, and it can even be politics. Even the vilification of Thatcher, horrendous human being in ways when you look at her political decisions, but we united over how fucking disgusting she was. She was a figure of disgust.
But the thing is that we united over how disgusting Thatcher was or how disgusting Reagan was and all that, but they set the template for the world we live in. You know what I mean? It's like they set this neoliberal
Was it not set before then, though?
Well, maybe it was. Maybe it's always, maybe like capitalism was always going this way. But it's like, you know, it's like that kind of idea that we had choices. We could still choose a social democratic kind of life. We could still choose some kind of redistribution of wealth. We could still choose some kind of way of dealing with this mess until we worked out how we kind of manage capitalism, how we manage its decline. It's inexorable to do that.
I was not someone who was from the UK or someone who was even of voting age at that time, but the Maggie Thatcher situation hits hard for a reason. She must have had choices along the way. Why is she so famous in all the communities that produced all the straight artistic
she never got fucking road. Dennis was never going to fucking... You know, honestly, seriously, it's like, you know, if anybody's getting their fucking hole properly, they're not going to be a cunt like that. You know what I mean? They're going to have a bit of compassion, have a bit of connection with humanity. She was never fucking road. That's basically the problem, like, yeah.
That's the reason why the Ra could bomb her hotel and she could get up at 8 the next day and make a speech, is because he wasn't fingering
what the fuck is it sit in bed with? You know,
Maggie Thatcher's just never been fingered.
Yeah.
And asked if she likes it that way.
Yeah.
She's probably never given a blowjob.
So you wouldn't put your fucking dick in her mouth, man. No way.
But if she styled her hair a bit differently and
well, you would, like, for fuck's sake, man. I'm out of here. Yeah.
So yeah, you think it comes down to the actual physical nature of humanity and the fact?
I think it does. I think it's like, you know, it's like, can you connect with somebody physically? Can you kind of, you know, can you join with another human being? Can you make love in a kind of way that it's not like fucking about conquest? It's about it's about communion. It's about, you know, sort of identification. It's about that connection, like, you know. And I think a lot of these fuckers, you got all these public school cunts, like, you know, they're all they're all there like, what the fuck are they doing? They've not actually learned how to love anybody else. You know what I mean? And that's the tragedy. You know, it's like in the UK, it's like you think, fuck, these kind of public school cunts, they don't actually know how to love anybody else. So all their
Which
fucking
comes from
oppression,
feel love before you give it them.
All their oppression, all their fucking nonsense and all that comes from them being fucking isolated and being fucking sent away as little children and all that, and being fucking shagged by fucking house masters and tossed aside and all that fucking pish and all that. And they go, well, we'll fucking take it out on these bastards and all, you know. So it's all that fucking nonsense. It's all that kind of mindscape and all that, you know.
So in a way, they're the first victims, but then accidentally get the power to make other people victims.
But they're shoehorned into this fucking high end level, and it's like when you think about every kind of politics now, it's all about kind of thinking about how can we service this machine, how can we put all this resources, how can we put all this money into the very highest echelons of life, how can we siphon it all off, and they're like, you know. And they're the best people to do that, because, you know, they're into all that elitist kind of stuff. They're into all that elitist power structure, so they can just fly the whole lot up there, like, yeah.
Do you support the Scottish national football team, or do you give a fuck?
I didn't even know they were playing here in Dublin today. I thought, fucking hell, I didn't even know what that tournament was about.
But
what
why
the fuck
not?
is all that about?
But the Scottish national football team, the Archie Gemmill days, all that stuff, surely it meant something to you.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been nationalistic. Yeah.
But if we were going to go through the all-time 11 of Scottish footballers, who's the goalkeeper?
Gorham. I mean, Gorham's the best goalkeeper I've seen.
What about Craig Gordon?
A lesbian.
A lesbian. Alan Hansen and who at centre back?
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly. I mean, it's like kind of there was that big debate, but I would have kept Miller and McLeish.
Alan Hansen has to be in there.
Nah, I mean, Hansen was like kind of he was you know, he's too Beckenbauer-esque for Scotland. We don't have that fucking style.
But he was a glorious footballer, though, and Scotland
lacked it.
In order to make it as a team and as a unit, you have to have it all. And they had the heart and they had the soul, but Hansen had the Rolls Royce element.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like
Dennis Law and Dalglish up front, no arguments.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say like I mean, it depends how far back you're going, like, yeah. But Laurie Riley for Hibs had a better kind of strike kind of goal ratio than either of them, like. Yeah.
But would you leave Law or Dalglish out?
I would certainly, I'd maybe leave Law out, like. Yeah.
You'd leave Dennis Law out of the all-time Scottish.
I would have Laurie Riley alongside Kenny Dalglish. I think that'd be a good couple, because Dalglish would play into the channels and Riley's a fucking.
Could you not
predator.
put one of them in midfield ahead of leaving Dennis Law out?
No, I would have from all kind of things that you know, rumours. I would have Gordon Smith on the wing, and I'd have Laurie Riley in the centre with Kenny Dalglish. That'd be.
What about Robertson? John Robertson?
Nah, too fat and slow. I mean,
two European Cups.
Smith,
Cups.
but I mean that was in the day where it's like he was putting a great side.
Are you anti guys who went to England to make it?
Do I look like a guy?
Do you have Graham Souness in this team?
I would actually, yeah, yep, I would.
You don't have John Robertson in this team?
No. John Robertson's a fat guy who was a winger. He was great for a bit, like, you know, he could keep the ball.
Brian
at his
Clough
feet,
called
like,
him the Picasso of the game.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. I think, you know, everybody's, you know, it's like he's got to talk up his guys, like.
Can I just go for a Pirsch?
I'm going to go for a pitch as well. Yeah. Let's do that, man. I'm loving the kind of the combination of extreme empathy and aggressive probing at the same time. It's great, man. It's a good style. It's a good style, but it's kind of good.
What do you make of suicide?
Suicide. Yeah. I think I'm not sure. I think it differs in all cases. Like, I think, you know, it's like I've had a couple of pals that, you know, obviously lockdown's been tough and all that. I've had a few people who've committed suicide, and I kind of feel that you know, I think eventually, when it comes down to it, when you go through all the fucking stuff and all the kind of grief and all the kind of heartbreak and all that, I think eventually you have to respect that person's choice. You know, so I think you know that's to me fundamentally how it comes down. Because it's like, I know they say like when you commit suicide, you kill not just one person, but you kill a lot of people and all that. But I think we have to kind of maybe get a little bit more sort of realistic about this, and it's such a strange thing. How do you actually think about, this is it, I'm ending my life, I'm done and all that, But you can't if you're not suicidal, you've never been suicidal. You don't think you kind of think, how can I get into that level of existential despair where I can make a comment about it? Because I can.
Is it actually possible to believe in God? No. I've seen grannies. I've seen great aunts. All these fuckers praying. I think they all know they're kind of lying. It's like when somebody tells you Carragher will get into the United team of 08. They're just saying it. They don't mean it. I don't think anyone truly believes in God, and maybe that's just me because I can't do it. I don't think anyone envisions the gates of heaven and has a good time there and goes, "I'll be in heaven with him sitting there."
It's funny because like my mother was like kind of 93. And basically, you get to that age, you think to yourself, you're maybe going to be a little... She was also an atheist, I think. You've got to be a little bit soft on fucking God now, It's coming, like. At least have as an insurance policy, like, but no, when you're dead, that's it. You're fucked.
She's still saying that at 93?
Yeah, completely, but hardcore. Totally hardcore, like, and I kind of, obviously I admire her for that, but
suicide in a way values something above humanity because physically we're actually not designed to do anything but survive. So therefore, there is something spiritual to suicide. It's believing I'll be at peace. It's not this be peace. It's this might be bad, but fuck it. It's the only thing you'll ever have.
But do you think it's like an alleviation of pain? I just want to get this done, or it's something like I want to get this done and there's something else.
I think it's an incorrect evaluation of pain. I think pain gets fucking out of hand. And the way we construct culture, especially on social media, and the way we all even communicate with each other, makes pain seem much more exaggerated than it is.
Have you ever done DMT?
No, but...
I'll tell you what, doing DMT changed everything that I felt about this, because I was like very kind of materialistic and kind of, almost like kind of Marxist about life.
When were you materialistic?
Well, I believed that this was like, I didn't really sense a spiritual dimension to life. I always thought like,
so you smoke DMT and what, it lasts for 2 minutes, but it seems like it's longer than
90 seconds, not even as long as 2 minutes.
How good is it?
Fucking great. But it's like it's not a trip. It's like it's an experimental drug, not a hedonistic drug. I've done the ayahuasca ceremonies in Brazil on the beach and all that, and they've been fucking great and all that. But the hardcore bang fucking DMT, it's educative. As Terence McGinnis says, take the 3 big fucking hits, like, you try and put it in your lungs. It's really... And
what happens?
You know what? The fucking gnomes come, the little gnomes come away and take you away, and they tell you everything, like, and you go into this... I flew off into space.
Will they be using your name?
I don't know. I mean, they better watch if they are, like, because my agent will be on to these bastards, like, But it's like... You think, the fuck's going on here? Like, you fly into space and you kind of, you see the world from the distance and all that. And it's everything. I actually feel a bit of a wanker talking about it, but
because
anybody that takes
it, very American, very Joe Rogan to talk about doing DMT.
It is. It's become fucking kind of a bit arsehole wanky and all that, but it's fucking real, man. It's real. It's I'm not going to fucking bullshit anybody. If it wasn't working out for me, I would just say this is fucking shite. But it does. It actually does work. It's fucking mental.
Have you ever contemplated suicide?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I fucking want to kill some other cunt if I feel a bit depressed. Like, I'm not going to fucking kill myself, for fuck's sake. There's too much fun to be had. Like,
How many people have you fucked because you're Irvine Welsh? Did you
every one of them since I was fucking 14?
No, but since '96, did you notice an increase in looks?
Increase in quality.
Since
was there more quality?
Since Trainspotting came out, were they in more physical shape?
Yeah, but you know what? It's like, not really, because I've always punched above my weight. I always thought that I was entitled to the best looking women, the best drinks, the best fucking drugs and all that.
But surely the fame and notoriety.
It made it easier. It made things easier. I didn't have to fucking sort of bang on the door for fucking years. I could do it in seconds, basically.
You love the concept of shagging.
You know what I love the idea that this is the most intimate thing that two people can do. It's like it's a fucking great thing. It's like how blessed are you to be able to make love to somebody. You know, it's like you think, it's like, this is fucking great. This is, you know, this is the most, in a lot of ways, that I'll get to know another human being. It's fucking brilliant.
There's no fake laughter. There's
Yeah,
no small talk.
nothing. Yeah,
I'm sticking
yeah,
my dick inside
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I mean, it's like fucking, or I'm wrapping my fanny around your dick and pumping you to fuck.
Either or.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Would you be a monogamous guy?
I'm kind of quite boring. It's like I go through these phases that I'm involved in a relationship, and then I go through this mad fucking total slag kind of thing for, you know, and then I get involved in another monogamous relationship. I'm into that, and then it's like I get involved in this mad fucking total slag thing. So I've always done that. I've always been quite when I get involved in a relationship, I'm quite obsessed with the person I'm involved with. You know, so.
Have you ever broke up with them, or is it always them going, Irvine, you're too much?
They always break up with me. They get fucked up with me. They always think, you know, I love him, but he's a cunt, basically. Yeah.
I valued your opinion too much, and I'm struggling to cope under the.
Well, you know, it's like the thing is, it's like the life that I've had, and you know, the way that I've always been. Not even, you know, pre-Trainspotting, even, you know, like, it's like. I've always kind of like I want to go places and do things and all that. So you're very present in someone's life, then you're absent from it and all that. A lot of people don't fucking like that. They want stability and they want things to work out. Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of linked to that traditional format, and you can just never really provide that.
I can't. You know, I mean, honestly, it's like if I had a daughter and she brought somebody like me home, I'd say, get that cunt the fuck out of here, man.
You never had kids?
No.
And because you've too much of a passion for life, you couldn't con it. You couldn't pretend.
I couldn't be that. I couldn't sort of be the kind of person who wanted to, you know. I had like very present parents that were great. You know, they indulged me, they looked after me. I want to do the same. But I can't, you know, I couldn't do that. You know, I just need to go, basically.
So would you have people who you know for 20 years, for 10 years, 5 years, or what? Do you just turn it around as the decades passed and just constantly try to know yourself? Like, is there any guys you've known 30 years? Is there any guys that...
Yeah. I mean, we're doing this documentary and all. They're going back to guys that fucking... been mates for 40 years.
But you're going back to them off your own bat, as in you're doing the documentary and you're...
No, yeah.
But is there any guys who you'd ring on a Thursday and go to see the Hibs game?
Yes. Oh, yeah. A lot of them, like... So it's like... you think you it's one of these things, it's like, you know... because I've moved around a lot, it's like you get really close friends. For, you know, this is my 40-year-old friend, this is my 30-year-old friend, my 20-year-old friend, my 10-year-old friends, but you don't really see it in that way. You know, it's like, but it's strange when you get them all together. They go, there's a bit of kind of mad jockeying for position in a lot of ways. Like,
was the real life skag boy not bitter?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. It's like this is all, hopefully this will come out in the documentary. It's like there's two of the bastards, like, you know. So, but I mean, possibly yes, but I don't know. I mean, I you know, it's like you'll get a lot of people who are saying, like, you know, it's always the same thing. You know, so you'll get some people saying, like, no, he's never changed, he's just the same. And you get other people saying, like, he's a cunt, he's fucking, you know, it's like that's just life. But I think that happens irrespective of kind of like, you know, so-called fame or success. I think it just happens with life, you know.
When someone puts their own reality onto paper, how they see the world, they write dialogue, they write characters, they write opinions, they make a living from it. Do you not struggle with the company of other people on a serious level? I
think the thing is, it's like, you can't really, you know, it's like, if I don't think you can take anything that seriously to the point that it's going to enable you and make your life fly, or it's going to crush you. You know what I mean? I think, you know, life's an experiential thing. You just go through it, you know. So I don't really see, you know, in that way.
So taking the seriousness out of life is essentially the key, regardless of what the fuck you're doing. Well,
it's not. You've got to exist. You've got to live and get on and do things and all that, and have fun and, you know, and enjoy yourself. And I think that to make things into some big kind of mad kind of existential debate or question, I don't think that's the way people live.
Irvine Welsh, thank you very much for coming on to the Michael Anthony Show.
Michael, pleasure, mate.
Great talking to you. All the best. Was that alright? Yeah.
That was fucking brilliant, mate. It wasn't even alright. It was fucking. It was beyond alright. It was fucking brilliant. It's one of the best things I've done. I hope we can do this another time as well. Yeah,
We'll do McGee. Me and McGee do.
Get him on, man.
Yeah.
It's been how many years, my boy?
Audiobook started. Shorter than
You
audiobooks.
still don't know my tears of joy. No need to go, just take
Radio
it
cast.
slow.
Podcast or something.
And have you heard the Michael Anthony show?
Nice show.
Makes me feel just fine. What's it makes me see the light. What about those tears? Tears, believe my eyes. How's it make you feel? It makes me feel